Spinster here. Thank you for spending some time with me today. As you can tell from what I have laid out here, we're going to be working some more on the Alice in Wonderland. I have some black and white strips here, just some red and pink fabrics, just a few, and then of course my two favorite stripes. And I'm going to be doing something with stripes, but not the same thing I plan to be doing on Sunday. There may end up being a little overlap, but I don't think so. Not much anyway. So part of the Alice in Wonderland bit is the kind of wild, crazy chaos going on. And that's what I'm hoping to kind of work on today. And my plan is to do some, sorry, I stopped to think about whether I wanted to draw it out for you first. I'm sure you've seen quilts, especially some of the modern quilts are doing where they have like a striped background and then it overlaps so that there's a different color. Often it's a circular shape of some sort. And then you see that instead of, say, the white underneath. So it creates that line right there. It continues the stripe, but it has a different background, I guess. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. And then how we do this transition and what we do over here is what I'll be pondering. So I'm going to first do some strips, and I have different widths here. I think just for the sake of you being able maybe to see it on camera better, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm going to do a strip set with these, just black and white stripes. I think these are cut 2 inches. And then I'll transition into maybe that one. That's got a little bit as if the chaos is starting to come from far away and joining us. I think that I want this to wait until later. But to begin with, I'm going to start with the strip set. Probably won't make it very long. Maybe about like that. The question then becomes how wide do I want it? I guess that's wide, that's whatever. I don't want this to be very much, but do I want more strips in the strip set? Let's do one more black perhaps. And I think that with the narrower the strips get, the more pronounced that line is going to be when we put replace the white. Well, here's a question. We could do 2 separate strip sets and then try to do some transition here, or we could just, hey, I think that's gonna be easier. And I could get a better curve probably if I just replaced this half of it, then sewed the black on. Don't you think? I think that would be better. Sorry, I'm sort of moving off frame here, I guess. I think that would be better. And I could either do wonky angles here, or I could do kind of a curve. Maybe curve this one way and this one another way and see how that looks. Okay. You can't see my face, but I have a, hey, why not look on my face? All right. All right, I'm going to do that. So first of all, I don't need double lengths on here. So I am going to, no, I have to do the red bit first before I start sewing strip sets together. So I'm going to do, say, a curve like this up here, and then maybe a curve like this direction. So this one's going to be convex on this side. This one's going to be, oh, that's concave, sorry. This one's going to be convex on this side. Is that what I want? Let's see how it looks. It's supposed to be a little wild and wacky, huh? I'm just putting this to get it in roughly the right place, and then I'm going to cut these ends so they line up about where I want. Although, if we're being wild and wacky, sorry about the rattle of rulers here, left-handed cut, always a risk. All right, it worked. Whew. And then I'll know where I'm starting down there. And for these, I am going to, these out of the way so I don't cut them by mistake. And I will take this red fabric, and as I do with freeform curves, I'm going to lay one over the other. I should cut strips that width, shouldn't I? All right, I'll be back after I cut a couple of strips. All right, I am back with 2 red strips that are the same width as the white here, and now I'm going to take this bit that I want to cut, put it toward the end, so I'm wasting as little fabric as possible, although of course I could always use it in crumb quilting or later craziness with Alice. And then my other strip is here. And I'm going to do the same thing on this one. And then I'll just freehand cut those curves. I'm going to have to stand up for that. Make sure my fingers are out of the way. Don't have to follow that pencil line exactly. It's just to give me a guideline. All right, now these 2 white strips can be set aside to use later, and pull out these extra pieces, throw it in the crumb bin, and now maybe we can get a general idea of whether or not I'm producing anything we really want to produce. Dry labbing it. All right, I kind of like that concept. Stuff to do over here, though. The other thing I could do, would be to take, other thing, she says like there's only one option. I could take a stripe and replace the black, that's pretty lame looking, but you'll get the idea, with a black and white stripe. There is a decided, I won't say division, but difference of opinion in about which stripe should go in some of these blocks. I think if I do a stripe, I want it to be this one. And I might even want it at a weird angle and have 2 different angles. They'll be on the bias, but then I'll be able to control the bias with the red strips then. What do you think? Should it be a gradual chaos where it goes off into the red first and then the black transitions in later on, or should I have them happen at the same time? I think I want to stagger them. You may choose something different. I really am going to have to buy more of this clown stripe. This is Michael Miller. I really like it. I could actually just slice some of this in at an odd angle, but have it be straight edges, and then have this one at a different angle down here. Probably a acutely different angle, so it doesn't look like it's a 90-degree coming together, and not in the same place, so it won't be an arrow shape. That may be too much chaos. I'm not sure. And I want to do this before I could sew these two together, but I don't want to sew the strip sets together until I've decided what I want to do with this. I'm going to take a few moments to ponder this, and I will probably edit it out so you don't have to just watch in silence. I'm just thinking about whether I want gradual chaos, start adding in pieces as I go along. I'm thinking that's the route I want to go. So I do want to put this stripe in place of the black. I wonder if I want the white to come back over here, so that instead of the red, it switches back to white at some point. Maybe in a curve again. No, I don't think it's ready for that yet. What I'm thinking, I don't know how this is going to turn out, which is nothing new with me, is it? Is that I'm going to start out with this very regimented, then I introduce the red, then I introduce the stripe, but still have the red, and then beyond that, it just turns to sort of chaos. We'll have things floating around and all kinds of things going on. So I'm going to sew these two together first, just so that they stay in one piece, and then I'll ponder how I want to do the black stripe. And again, just to review curves, I have cut this to be exactly the same curve by stacking them. And now I'm just going to put it right sides together, and I'm not going to pin it. I'll just leave myself a little dog ear there. And then as I'm sewing, I'm going to just gradually, the convex is on top, and I'm going to just gently move this fabric over. I'm not stretching it over, I'm just moving it over. If you have a needle down on your machine and you're more comfortable going slowly, you can certainly do that. You can certainly pin it if you want, but this is just a freeform curve. And as you're doing your curves, remember to be watching when you're lining up on the edge here with your presser foot, or however you are measuring your 1/4 inch. You want to be watching that place on your presser foot just across from your needle, not toward the front, because that's not where you're sewing, and who knows what's going on back here at the needle if you've got it swung around up here. So we've got a little bit of a change going in there, and now I'm going to have to make a decision about the black and white stripe. There's so much straight going on with this strip set this way. Ooh, so far anyway. We could change that, couldn't we? That I'm thinking I do want another curve coming in here. And do I want it straight, or I want it a little bit off? And I don't necessarily want that to be the same width. Maybe I just want a little bit of that stripe, and then it goes back to black. A little bit of trend. How close do I want these? Yikes. I don't necessarily want them to be the same width. So I may start out with a straight, albeit angled, piece here, and then curve it at this end, and then do roughly the same thing up here. This may turn out to just look horrible, you know. You know how things can go. Let's first of all get ourselves a couple inches. All right, I got my act together. Got a couple of stripes, the correct width going the correct direction. And now say I want to, no, it's still, yes, it is the correct direction. I don't know, cloudy day, cloudy brain, I guess. Have it cut at an angle. Then a different angle down here. Want curved or straight? I think I decided on curved, but I don't know how wide I want it to be. I decided I didn't want the white back there, didn't I? How do I feel about that now? I think I'm going to make one of them white. Kind of repeat sort of that curve here. So if this comes back, brings in the white at the same time. Maybe all three of these. Or maybe I do want this. Do I have an angle cut here? Yes. That angle. I think I want the opposite angle actually. But do I want it straight or curved? I think maybe I want that straight. This may be a little bit curved and then this straight. It's a little hard to tell when I've got all this other stuff going on over here, isn't it? I'm going to give that a try, and I've got lots of fabric. If I don't like it, I can do something else. All right, I want to cut the same angle here, and it's going to be, I don't know what angle. Will just be some angle. Goes here. And these strips are also going to be a little narrower once I get the seams in, of course. Do I want that to sort of curve into that? This kind of curve, maybe. Need it to be on the fold, however. All right, I'm going to cut a curve there just to kind of see how that looks. Got black fuzzies everywhere. No, I decided I didn't want it that direction, didn't I? I wanted this direction. All right, and I think I'll just take my scissors and cut that curve. So that's how it looks with a curve in there. That's kind of interesting, although do I like that point there? Now it looks like a fish with its little nose there. I don't think there are any fish in Alice in Wonderland, are there? It's been a while since I read it. So maybe I don't want those to join. Now it looks even more like a fish. That's better. Doesn't look like a fish so much. And then just trying to see what it looks like as, say, a block. All right, I think I like that. So I need to cut this at the same curve, and I'm going to mark on this black end about where it is, which will change with the seam, but okay. And then I need to do a curve on this. I need to cut the same curve, sew that curve, and then sew these two angles. Here's where we're at this point. Now I want to sew the strips together, and I don't want this to, it's probably going to be fairly short like this, so I may trim these edges before I start sewing. So I've got this curve kind of lined up here. These two angles are not lined up. How drastic do I want that to be? It may be too drastic. And then we'll do some funky stuff over here. So I'm going to sew these strips together and trim them probably about, well, I'll trim it long so that I can, of course, shorten it later. And I'll have things for my crumb box, right? This becomes the backdrop or background now for whatever we want to do over here. This, I think, stays pretty calm. And then it just gets chaotic over here, wacky over here. Now, if I'm honest, I think I might like this better lengthwise for some reason, but it could just be the angle I'm sitting at. For the moment, however, we will work on it this way. You have no idea what kind of chaos I have off to the side here. Welcome to my world, huh? Now, we can start adding in things, which could be curved pieces. I'm looking for the curved stripe that I had for something else. Themes are emerging in what I'm doing on both Wednesdays and Sundays, I can tell. All right, so we have a little strip here we could start to bring in. See, it's already getting better when you just think of that as the backdrop and not a final block. Start to bring in a stripe here, and then we could bring in almost a confetti kind of effect, in which case I think I would want to put any scraps that I'm going to do that with onto a fusible web, because that would be better for then appliquing it down, doing the stitching around it. So I'm going to go and get some fusible web. And what fabrics do I want to? Definitely want some of that. Probably want a pink in there to go with what we've got. We've also got this red and white stripe that might also have a role in this. We do have some bias strips of that we could use, although I don't know that I want it on top of itself there. I have some pink and red fabric that has fusible web on the back, and I'm just going to cut maybe some triangles, smaller squares. Don't want to get too large for the space. I'm going to applique, so I don't have to worry about losing seam space in there. So I will want them probably different sizes, and I may want some that are squares or rectangle-ish. What I'm thinking about at the moment actually is, what if I do a circle? In which case I will probably want to draw it on that side, so, or it could be an oval. Well, let's see what I've got that I can draw around here to make a smallish circle. Wouldn't you know it, I couldn't find my compass either. So I have this ruler from Long Arm Quilting. Should be something at least close to a circle. I just had a thought that maybe could do like some half circles too. Let's do a pink half circle. Other side, Karen, other side. I think once these get appliqued, they're going to fit better with all of this, and this will get appliqued onto. So they could also overlap. And I need some more of this little guy down here. Not sure that's the size or shape I want, and I need to distribute them better, I think. I need some more closer to the edge. That I want off the red because it's not going to show very well there. We need something in there, don't we? Definitely need something in there. It may not be any of these fabrics. It might be something else we want to do. What do we have of? Nope, I don't want to use that. Let me cut off another piece of this just to see if that's what I'm looking for. Maybe I need some smaller pieces scattered in there. Decisions. All right, we've got these pieces we want to hang on to. Do I want to put these on yet? This I think I will. And then maybe we'll work on this more next week. Sorry, this is a seriously very much thinking and talking video, which you may all be asleep by now. But there's value in me being a sleep aid for you, right? Mary Kay, if you're listening, this would be a good video to put you to sleep at night. Those are two lined up. If you know what I mean. Better. It's a little hard to tell when they aren't actually fused on yet. But I think that's better. All right, I will take a screenshot of this from the video so that I know where I think I wanted these. And then I'm going to put this on. And next week then we'll figure out where we want these. And if in fact we want, I don't know, some fancy stitching or couching some threads or something behind this. But I will stitch this on. I'm going to use a little bit of glue stick to get that in roughly the right place. And then I think I will use black thread, white thread, invisible thread. I have white in there now, so that would be easy. Not sure that's the look that I want. Here's what I'm going to do. I have more of this than I need, so I'm going to try two different, maybe three, if I don't like either of the two. See how that looks against, oh, it's actually black and red fabric that it's going up against, right? So let me see how that's going to look. Probably just, no, maybe a zigzag. This is a pretty narrow strip. So I don't know that I want to do anything very fancy. There's that cross stitch that I really like, but this is kind of a narrow strip for that. Unless I have it go over the whole, like couch the whole thing, and I don't know that that's what I want. I think I want it off to the side. So probably a narrow zigzag. Let me see how that looks. And here we are. I tried it with white, didn't like it. I don't want it to be wider. I don't want it to be a shorter stitch. And I knew if I didn't like the white, I wasn't going to like the black. So this is invisible thread, and I think I like that. It's going to do the job, but not overpower what I'm doing with the strip there. The other thing that we haven't talked about that you know I'm going to want to do is to slice and dice a little bit down here. We'll see how that goes next week. But I do want to go ahead and get this laid out today and stitched down. So we've done more than the background anyway. How do I want that to curve? Maybe I don't want too much curve in it. Or do I want a lot of curve in it? And I don't want it to be an even curve. So maybe a shorter curve up here and then start here. I do want it to be an S curve, I'm sure. Okay, I will do that and show you what that looks like. Which means I have to take all of these off. I could sort of put them down with glue for the moment. Or I could, here's what I can do. Because this is Steam-A-Seam 2, I can pull off this backing, and it's sticky. I have no idea where this was now. And it will stick down, and then it will be permanent when it's pressed, but I can peel it up and move it around. As I came to the end of stitching the first side on here, I realized that stabilizer would have been a good idea. So I did add it when I stitched on the second side, which of course looks better. And that is, I think, all I'm going to do this week. Next week, we'll start thinking about what to do with this. This looks, I did change a couple of things around because I had all pink on this side and all of the red on that side, and that certainly didn't look good. But it still looks regimented to me, no matter what I do with these pieces, and I think that's because these stripes are so, I don't know, delineated now. There's nothing that's really pulling them together. So it looks better here because it's got something on top of it that weaves it all together. So it isn't strip, 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 strip. It's more like strip, 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 strip. So we'll play with that, maybe with some specialty threads or stitches or couching some yarn. I don't know, but we'll think of something because that needs to tie together. These are not necessarily at all where these will end up, nor will they necessarily be these shapes, but the Steam-A-Seam 2 allows me to just stick them on, and at least they will stay together until next week. So I hope to see you on Sunday and or Wednesday. Please, if you haven't subscribed, do that. Hit the subscribe button. It will just help others to find these videos, which I hope are useful to you. I know it isn't a here's how to make a quilt video, but I really, my passion is helping people to design their own blocks and quilts, and this is one way you can do it, and it's fun for me. I hope it's fun for you. So I will see you next time. In the meantime, be well, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.